that has come up with several stories that he has done chapters and chapters and chapters of, and sometimes hasn't even started on yet, because either he's busy with work like I am at times, or something, but he comes up with so many different ideas that not only does he make a story, like I said, that goes for several chapters, but it's a very intriguing, but the stories he comes up with for the characters are really intriguing, interesting, and you sometimes when you read them, want to see them actually become an official comic book want to see them officially adapted either into comic book form or animation form. And what he does is he's a fan of characters getting elastic powers. Kind of like Elastigirl, Mrs. Incredible from The Incredibles. But he goes beyond just them being stretchy and elastic. He allows them to shape-shift and morph their shape into different things. And the characters he started this trend with, believe it or not, from what I got introduced by, was the freedom fighters of Sonic SatAM, mostly Princess Sally. And then he made that follow-up on giving those similar powers to Loop and Amy. And how did he do that? By having Loop and Amy accidentally fuse into one body. And then through that, he gave it to Fiona, who became good because of this. And I think even Nicole, who was possessing an animatronic version of Fiona or something. Or actually, it was Nicole possessing Fiona's body because they weren't sure if they could trust Fiona, but Fiona even got a similar powers, even in sort of a android-like form. But anyway, he has fun with this. He has fun. Not only does he tell a good story with these, but he allows the characters that get infected, that are in the situation like Sally is, to have fun with the powers. He allows them to manipulate and shape and morph their bodies into almost anything. Like there's a scene where she's training her body, basically there's several scenes where she's training on how to use her new elastic powers, how to manipulate her shape, morph her shape, whatever. And there's a scene where she's training with Sonic, and she comes up with the idea to morph her shape into basically a voluptuous, sexualized version, bigger buzz, longer hair, more attractive, kind of Jessica Rabbit-like. And in the story, it stops Sonic in his tracks. It's like, holy smokes, I didn't expect this. Hubba hubba, kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just that. He allows her to go to semi-liquidation. If she gets caught in a deal to where she's got to find a way to get out of it, she turns herself into a almost semi, if not total liquefied version of herself, goes through the cracks and then reforms. He even has allowed her, obviously taking inspiration from, like, let's say, Plastic Man, to manipulate herself to become clothes or even armor for her fellow friends, which she does for Luke. And it's pretty cool. It really is. And again, this gets passed on to Amy and Loop after they get fused and then separated, to Nicole through Fiona's body, and Fiona through an android-like body. It's kind of crazy. It really is. And then if that's not enough, you have Loop's kids or daughters. They get affected by it in that same story. And in the follow-up where they cross over with MLPFIM. And then if that's not enough, he takes this similar concept, he takes it over to the Crypto Superdog franchise, does it to Brainy Barkey, the leader of the Dog Stars. He does that to her because he makes her become a love interest for not Crypto, but for Stretcho Much. And just like with Sally, he allows her to have fun with it, get more of a personality. And then if that's not enough, he does a crossover between Phineas and Ferb and Road Rovers by having Candace and her two friends get turned into anamorphic wolf girls, and they become stretchy. And then he has something planned for Lola Bunny out of the Looney Tunes show, and it's like, holy smokes. And again, if you're new to this, if you're new to those stories like I was, you think to yourself, man, what the fuck was this guy thinking? What kind of mindfuck is this? But when you read the stories and you see how much hard work and dedication he put into it, you realize, okay, I get it. Yeah, you know, this is a mind trip, a mind fuck that he took me on by doing this to these characters, but I see the hard work he has put into the stories to make them believable, make them be stories that you would want to see adapted into official comic book form or animation form. So sometimes when that happens, when these WTF mindfuckery moments happen, you know, sometimes they're like out of nowhere and they could be bad, like with that Star Trek deal. And sometimes they could be good because even though it's something you think makes you think, what were they thinking, what were they on and everything, what were they smoking, you realize it's not that bad because they have a good story that follows along with it. And again, I've had several friends that I've recommended here on YouTube at DeviantArt that do original stories sometimes that come out of not just my mind as commissioned or their minds because it's something they've been working on for a while. But when you read them, either it's a commission for myself or somebody else, or it's just their regular projects that they're working on, you think to yourself, if you're new to it, you think the same thing. What the fuck is going on here? What kind of mindfuck is this? But then when you read the story, you're like, oh, well, okay, I get it. It's a nice little story. You know, there's a story behind it. There's a reasoning behind it. There's character development. And sometimes there's just little funny one-shot deals. Like recently I had somebody I commissioned through Points at DeviantArt do a little short story of Sally creating an invisibility formula that also had the properties, also had the power to allow her, as it being invisible, to merge with inanimate objects. And even though it wasn't as long as I thought it would be, it was still good enough in its own one little shot deal that it had character development, because you had Sally, being kind of wondering, making sure her, always coming back and asking Nicole, okay, is this going to work? Is this an effect? Can you analyze this, that? Always still being Sally, but kind of growing a bit of character development by having fun with these powers and kind of being a little mischievy. So, again, like I said, we're just as guilty as the writers in Hollywood through the movies, television series, animated movies, live action movies, web series, whether it's animated web series, or live action web series or whatever. You know, we're just as guilty. We're just as guilty. But again, the reason we're just as guilty by creating these WTF mindfuckery moments is because we get intrigued by those that we've seen before. We get intrigued by those WTF, what the fuck mindfuckery moments that we've seen in cartoons, in cartoon movies, anime movies, cartoon series, animated series, live action movies, live action series. You know, even web series as well, like I said, even web comics. Because of the fact is something we don't see every day. Even if it's a one-shot deal and it has nothing to do with the rest of the continuity. Or it's a one-shot, or it's just something, it's a one-episode deal, but it does get reflected back on in the continuity. It's something that intrigues and inspires us, but again, it still keeps us asking years later, what the fuck were they thinking? What the fuck were they thinking when they came up with this? So, that is why we see these mindfuck-like moments. Because it does keep us asking, what the fuck were these people thinking? So, that's all I'm going to say on this, folks. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you know of any mindfuckery, what the fuck moments that you've seen that I haven't mentioned in anime, animation, live action or so, that I haven't mentioned, as well as what was the first WTF mindfuckery that you've seen in animation, live action, and so on. Let me know down below, comment if you like. Sorry that this topic was in several videos, and I'll talk to you all later.